Hola a todos, bienvenidos. I want to answer this one question that my mom asked me recently about Spanish. So the question was something like, do you think I could actually learn Spanish? So I think the main concern was just feeling like she was unable to actually remember words. Sorry for the interruption. Hopefully it's not too distracting.
Give me my pen, please.
So the short answer is yes. Yes, I really do believe you can learn.
But I can't learn.
So like I said, one of her concerns was that she can't remember words or hasn't been able to. So like if I say a word in the morning, then she doesn't remember it by the evening. But the problem is if you learn a word in Spanish, any word, if you're just beginning, if you are more advanced, if you're almost fluent like maybe I am, you don't just like hear a word once and memorize it. You need to actually be using the word throughout the day. So you need to initially hear the word, you need to use the word several times, you need to use it in different ways, you need to try to visualize it. Like I know a lot of people are more visual learners, or little baby down here now. So for me, for example, if I learn a word in context in Spanish, so one of the words that I've actually had trouble with is the word gaveta. I've heard it so many times from, you know, my husband or quien sea. It has taken me, I think, years to actually remember that word and know that drawer equals gaveta. And to this day, I still don't know how to spell it. I keep forgetting how because I never actually looked up the word to see how it's spelled. I never actually wrote it down. So these are things for me that really help to lock in a word, and especially for words that the sounds could be various letters like V or B, gaveta sounds like it could be G-A-V-E-T-A or G-A-B, or like I didn't know if it started with a K. I always tend to use that word drawer in English because gaveta for me has been super uncomfortable. I've heard it so many times, like what the heck? How come I cannot hang on to this word? It's because, number one, I didn't know how it was spelled. Number two, I never used it myself. I would always tend to just avoid that word if possible. And number three, something that really could help me still figure out how to spell it and remember that is writing it down. Maybe just writing it down a couple times randomly for no reason. Maybe using it in a text. Maybe making a flashcard. Todas esas cosas could really help me. There are other words, but I can't think of how can my hand talk? There are other words I know, but I can't think of them off the top of my head that I hear in Spanish. I always forget what they mean. When I try to use those words, I tend to use the English word because my brain will not hang on to those words. I hope that kind of made sense. Some people are really good at just memorizing, and some people, it takes a little more work, but I know for sure, even if you have trouble with memorization, you can still learn Spanish because there are memorization techniques. There are ways to make your memorization better. It's not like, I just remembered something.
Mommy.
We were playing a game actually, which requires memorization where you say, I'm going on a picnic and I'm bringing something. So the first person starts and they might say an apple, and then the next person has to say, I'm going on a picnic and I'm bringing an apple, and they add something else, peanut butter. And the next person adds something. They can be crazy things. No tiene que ser something that you would actually bring on a picnic, you know, it's just a game, say whatever you want. But we were playing that game. She did really well in that game. So that's just proof that she could totally learn and memorize Spanish words. I'm gonna have to tell her that because I just realized that. Memorization is a muscle that you need to work and get better at if you don't just like naturally have that ability. I've had times in my life where I can memorize things way better than other times. It's literally like, I need to work on it. There's this other game that we used to play, my dad specifically, this is fun little story. When I was growing up, we would go drive about 45 minutes to this ski hill, and on the way there and the way back, usually my dad would like, you know, try to find things to entertain us on the way or whatever it was. So he's always been really big into personal development, and so is probably all of my family. So anyway, there's basically This memorization technique, I don't remember it now. It's a way to remember a list of things. You try to make things as silly as possible, make this crazy image in your mind of each of the items so that you have them really stick and hard to forget, basically. I can make a video more specifically about memorizing, but just know there are ways to improve your memory and there are ways to make words stick in your mind better, if that makes sense. There are also many words in Spanish that are called cognates, which means basically the word is the same in Spanish as English, but you just pronounce it differently. So like chocolate, chocolate, it's the same word in Spanish and English, it just sounds different. So those kind of words you basically don't even have to memorize. You see them once and you're like, oh, I know that that one is the same in Spanish as English. So if any of you guys also had the same question of could you actually learn because you're not good at memorizing, espero que este video helped you out a bit, give you some encouragement maybe. If you ever have any questions, please comment down below and I will be happy to answer them if I can. Hopefully I can. Visualization and repetition are your friends. Just your friends, yeah. Nos vemos, bye.